Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this free webinar of MapStore. We are part of the GeoSolution instructional webinar series and open source software and products. And this includes GeoServer, GeoNode, and MapStore. Today, we will see MapStore at work with the special insights of an interesting use case for MapStore at the Flanders region for the Department of Mobility, in partner with our partner GeoSolutions NV Belgium. They will talk today about the experience that we have with MapStore. In fact, they created a very interesting downstream project, which is highly considered in the Belgian authorities. So before we start, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Alessandro Cristofori, and I am a support engineer at GeoSolutions. GeoSolutions is a business running from 2006, and with our efforts specifically focused on open source software, namely MapStore, GeoServer, and GeoNode. Other than being the main developers and contributors for these applications, we are involved in the foundational technologies behind the scenes. The services that we offer include enterprise support, service and commercial support for open source software. We do subscription deployments, professional trainings, and custom developments based on open source products as well. The products are GeoServer, GeoNode, and MapStore. We have a wide range of clients coming from different industries around the world, and we provide for them support services, and we develop customized solutions integrating with their own technology stacks. From here, we can see the AMSA, the European Maritime Safety Agency, of course, Flanders regions, Total Energies, oil and gas, Guy Carpenter Insurance. So we have a wide range of customers. And these are the industries, the main industries our customers work. We've got earth observations, defense, utilities, government, smart cities, and many more. In terms of industry associations and affiliations, we are involved in the open source geo community. In the OGC, we usually participate in a lot of tests and working groups. We are a member of the US Geospatial Intelligence. We are certified seasoned developers for all is usually involved in the MapStore 3D. And of course, last but not least, we are a member of the World Geospatial Industry Council. So just to mention, in March, we also achieved the ISO 27001 certifications that standardize our support processes. We actually participate with our internal teams in the above mentioned open source projects as core members and committees. In here, we got a glimpse of the structure of our company. We are more than 35 staff members, more than 30 of which are software engineers, and we are committers and steering members of all the open source projects that are listed here. So, as to say, we don't just use the products, but we actively participate and lead their development. So we know them very well. We got more than 15 years of international and multi-industry knowledge about spatial problems. We got a good track of recording for implementing scalable geo platforms in multiple industries, and we support critical operation for our customers. We are a strong team, and we are international renowned experts for the S4G. So we got more than one reason to choose us if you want to operate in the geospatial world. Now, let's go down specifically to the product we are going to show today. It's MapStore. So let's introduce that to you with a brief introductions of the product and its high-level capabilities for those that are not too familiar with MapStore. MapStore is a WebGIS application licensed under the simplified BSD license. Its main purpose is to provide tools to create, manage, and share various kinds of resources, such as maps, dashboards, and geographic stories online. It's built to consume many kinds of data sources, working on top of the OGC standards, mainly, but not exclusively, OGC standards. The MapStore framework is developed with React.js and is designed to be map agnostic, thus providing support for different mapping engines. In terms of themes customization system, MapStore allows powerful ways to customize the look and feel and to adapt the branding colors and themes where MapStore is used and embedded. So it can be easily adaptable to your company style guides. MapStore is a really powerful GIS that provides an extremely wide range of operational employment opportunities. Its products, our flagship products, manages and visualize cartographic information, both in 3D and 2Ds. And in a few steps, it's really easy to set it up and customize it. As we can see from the slides, in a few steps, you'll be able to customize it, use it, and configure its theme. In this way, you will have a ready-to-use open source WebGIS with many features available right out of the box. Tools and capabilities will allow you to organize and style and do some processing on your data already. And the MapStore can easily be extended, and its environment and application context can be configured and enriched with additional and customized settings aimed at achieving more mapping goals that customize and are suited to your needs. Furthermore, MapStore ensures a really good interoperability thanks to the use of OGC standards. MapStore is not just a product. You can take the customization of MapStore to the next level and make it and use it as a framework. You can develop it and use its components. You can use its API. It exposes an API and can be used in your WebGIS applications to achieve specific mapping goals. You can take modular parts of MapStore and use them in a different environment, the MapStore itself. And thanks to the downstream project, it is possible to create your own MapStore projects based on your own needs. And this will just take a few steps. We will see an example today with the DMOW downstream projects, of course. The MapStore extension is possible to extend and customize plugin in MapStore to let him do customized pre-processing of data, customized styling, customized functions that are not immediately ready in the MapStore products. And it's a very easy way to develop your own and control your own extensions and adding plugins to MapStore. Here we can see some of the usual most common contexts where MapStore is used as a WebGIS. We can see we've got, it's not restricted to that these users, we've got many more, but we can see the main fields of applications. We can see urban data, city mobility, tourism, emergency, oil and gas, management of geological and hydrogeological data. And of course, as we will see the example today with the MOW, it's used for mobility and infrastructure management for the road networks. The resources offered by MapStore are many. Let's go and see them one by one, focusing first on maps. The map viewer is the main one. It provides a flexible and modular map visualization system that can cover many different use cases, starting from simple to minimal maps to embedded maps that can be embedded in your website and portal, but you can also set up more advanced visualizations. For example, like we see in this case, we can add widgets, we can measure 3D data, we can calculate vertical profile of DEM data, for example. If you wanted to provide a high level of overview of its capabilities, we could certainly list the one reported in the slides, most parts, but all of them can be combined together for various objectives. So in MapStore, you can MapStore map project, you can connect 2D data and 3D data. In MapStore, we can use advanced styling and annotation for capabilities in creating fascinating maps. We can use specific tools to support geographic operations, but also data visualizations, search and filtering, consultation and identification of data through OGC services. And we also have the possibility to support 3D with a quite good level of interoperability of 3D data. So all of these already comes in MapStore, in the MapStore product. So there is no need to add or develop specific custom plugins. This is already part of the MapStore main product. Secondly, second part of resources we can see are dashboards. Dashboards provide a dedicated context of the application where it's possible to combine widgets to aggregate spatial and non-spatial data and getting insights for it. We can see we can have a map that is the base of our data research. We can combine it with tabular data. We can combine it with charts, and charts can be either bar charts, pie charts. We can combine counters and provide legends, widgets, and we can also do some statistical calculations to get more insight from the attributes coming from the non-spatial part of our data. Again, in dashboard, it's possible to connect data coming from different data sources, WMS, WFS, WMTS. It's possible to filter and inspecting the data and aggregating the context. As I said, we've got advanced statistical operation. It is possible to visualize information in charts, and we've got different types of charts, like pie charts, bar charts, as I said, maps, counters, and so on. The third type of resources is possible to create and manage in MapStore are GeoStories. GeoStories are the answer of MapStore to the spatial storytelling. Thanks to its advanced web editor, it is possible to create inspiring and immersive stories, combining geospatial information like maps with all other multimedia content, such as text, iframe, images, videos, and so on. And it is possible with that to create well-structured presentations using maps that can be published in web pages. In here, we can see how it's possible to build a GeoStory. The menu of the editing is very intuitive. We can add different types of sources all at once, just with a click. We can create immersive sections for the website. We can add maps with pins, and we can include in these pinpoints any sorts of multimedia data. Can be video, can be a picture, can be text, and so on. And this is aimed, of course, to do presentations and including map for enriching the presentations to your audience and keep them involved. Okay, fourth type of MapStore resources is the application context. Application context provides an administrative tool where map viewers can be configured directly from the user interface. This is done by only by admin. There is a powerful wizard that makes possible to create personalized maps viewers going through different steps. We can start for the name of the map of the context. We can include a custom URL. We can pass through the configuration map by adding geospatial mapping contents to the context. And it's also possible to customize the tools that we want to show or hide within a customized map viewer. Last but not least, as we can see in here, we can also customize the theme. So we can make it dark. We can make the interface of the map darker. We can change the color of the text, of the buttons, and to adapt it to the look and feel, of course, of your company, or to kind of distinguish between one map viewer to the other. Then we can see in here the useful links that will also be linked in the blog post that will contain the slides of this presentation. Main resources that allow you to basically learn more about MapStore. We have a demo site in here where you can see MapStore in action with real data. We have the user documentation in here, that you can find all the documentations in MapStore, including the list of the plugins, the instructions on how to use the plugins. We've got the development documentation for those that intend to install MapStore, taking a look, for example, at installing MapStore in your corporate environments, and as well making and developing your own custom plugins. There are instructions about it. We've got the GitHub repo, of course. MapStore is an open source software. Here there is the source code. We've got a series of instructional videos where we have some tutorials about using MapStore as a user, as a developer, and we have all the recording of all the past webinars, where you can see all the sections of MapStore, like, for example, the very interesting 3D webinars given in the past by our colleagues, where it explains how to load, visualize, and operate on 3D data with MapStore. And of course, if you want to keep up with the latest news, you can subscribe to the mailing lists. Okay, so my part is finished. I will leave the stage to Janko from GeoSolutions NV, and we will see what they have been doing with MapStore. Thank you very much. So I'm going to leave it to Janko.
Okay. So I am Janko Hodaert, geodata engineer and the MapStore expert of the company GeoSolutions in Belgium. At GeoSolutions, so we make up, together with 8 other companies, the biggest location IT group in the Belgian, Netherlands, and Luxembourg region. That group is named GeoSquare, and we are together with 275 professionals. GeoSolutions and Localize make up the Belgian location intelligence part of that group. How do we help our customers? In fact, we're like being a Swiss knife with a lot of tools ranging from consultancy, experts in GIS, data engineering, project management, and so on. Also providing products and data like Google, TomTom, Esri, and also by providing custom solutions. So in fact, we are the one-stop shop for location intelligence in the Belgian, Netherlands, and Luxembourg region. Regarding technology, we are technology independent, so we use the technology that is best suited to help our client, whether it's, for example, Esri or open source tools like GeoServer and MapStore. Like being said, we have a partnership with GeoSolutions Group, so we can further strengthen each other in those products. Besides the technology cluster, we have the people of the data cluster who focus on modeling and managing digital twin data. You have the data engineers who manage the data flows, and then the people of insights focus on transforming the data to actual valuable information. This while the people of a business cluster focus on business functional analysis, architecture, and project management. With all of this, we help over 350 clients, with some of our key customers shown here. These clients are part of different sectors like, for example, ArcelorMittal in the industry, Air Liquide in the utilities, and for the transport and logistics, for example, the port of North Sea Port, the port of Antwerp. And we have a lot of clients in the governmental sector, mainly listed on top, where here in the red square, Department of Mobility and Public Works, or the Flemish government. And that is the one that I will focus on during the demonstrations. Before I move on, I think it's worth to mention that a lot of these clients use open source products from GeoSolutions Group, like GeoServer and GeoNetwork. So now let's move on with the department. To give you some more context, the department is a governmental institution. And despite being a small country in Belgium, we have 6 governments due to a complex historical legacy. We have 1 at the federal level, then 3 for each language community and 3 for each region, where in fact the Flemish, Dutch-speaking community and the Flanders region make up only 1 government to make it more or less complex. It's up to you. The department is part of the Flemish government in the region of Flanders. The region of Flanders is here the dark region on the map on the top half of Belgium. Interesting to know, there are approximately 6.8 million inhabitants in Flanders, with around 500 inhabitants per square kilometer, depending on the region where you are. So it's a relative dense region. What is the goal of the department? Well, essentially, it's to move Flanders in a safe, smart, and sustainable way along 85,000 kilometers of roads and 1,000 kilometers of waterways infrastructure. So this involves big challenges in policy making, and it is exactly that policy making where the department is in charge of. As you can feel, the domain of mobility and public works is also highly location related. So the department can benefit from geodata-enabled decision-making in a smart way. And that's exactly what we achieve with the integration of MapStore, GeoServer, and GeoNetwork. Around 4 years ago, DMW started to set up an open source WebGIS infrastructure with MapStore downstream project as a GIS viewer. Then we used GeoServers for web services, and we implemented GeoNetwork in the later stage as a metadata portal. With MapStore, we make maps, dashboards, and geostories for all of different use cases. Mostly those are internal to support the policy making itself, but we have also public resources since the outcomes of that policy making are public. So in this way, we can inform citizens better with user-friendly, location-based data visualization in mainly maps and geostories. Some of these resources are also directly embedded on the governmental websites. And in some cases, we even use MapStore together with its editing capabilities, so not only as a viewer. And that's one case that I will show later on. DMW also has a support contract with GeoSolutions Group, so we can shoot feature requests to extend the flexible software. One example is the custom OpenID authentication authorization system of the Flemish government. But with support contract, we can also let bugs solve faster or get configuration support of these products. What is the role of GeoSolutions Belgium in this story? We were not involved with the initial setup 4 years ago, but we do have implemented and extended MapStore from scratch for other clients. For DMW, we manage and we support the MapStore product configuration, and we do end-to-end data processing. When you have a policy question or wish, we do the whole pipeline from the data processing to analysis, visualization, publication, and implementing a result in MapStore. So that is actually my direct contribution as a consultant. So let's now jump into the demonstrations of the DMW GIS viewer, where I will highlight some interesting use cases. The first use case is about shared soft mobility. So in Flanders, we have 15 transport regions, where transport region of Antwerp wanted an overview of the current situation of shared soft mobility. So in other words, where are the bike sharing and e-scooters located? to have an overview where we can improve the shared mobility. So in other words, which areas are underserved and can improve. To achieve this, we started from the open GBFS data. We harvested all the available open GBFS data for Flanders. We aggregated that on different levels of administrative boundaries. So we started with aggregation on top of the whole Flanders region, then to the bottom through the provinces, the transport regions, municipalities, postal zones, and then the most granular zone is the statistical sectors. We enriched that data also with the number of inhabitants, and we did this for the whole Flanders region, so everyone in the region can use the results of this analysis. We published the results on GeoServer with multiple styles for multiple goals, and we created a public map from this result. So we actually went from open data to new enriched open data. Now I will show a demonstration of this map. I will exit the PowerPoint. Okay, so here you have the home page of the DMOW GIS viewer built on MapStore. You now search for the GBFS public map. Okay, so as soon as the map is loaded, the map details panel on the right show up to give you more information on how to use a map and how to interpret the data. You can always close this and open it later if you want. Then we have a quite big list of layers in the table of contents with off top the GBFS group. Right below the GBFS group, we have the stations group to show the exact locations in case of the station-based shared mobility. So we implemented both station-based shared mobility, where you need to pick up and drop off your bicycle or e-scooter at a particular location, but we also implemented data from free-floating services where you can pick up and drop off wherever you want. This data is visualized based on the operator, so you have a different color for each operator. And in the operator group, we loaded the layer multiple times for each operator, and we filtered it, so it's actually very easy for the user to toggle for specific operators on this map. When you click on a location, you get more information in the Identify Result panel here on the right. So you get the operator name, the capacity of this station, and then the number of regular bikes, e-bikes, and e-scooters available at the time of harvesting of the data. We harvested it not during a peak, but at night of a particular Wednesday night, so we get a good overview of that. So actually, it's just one web service, but with different visualization and different filtering, so only one database table. The needed station group, we have the aggregated data group. So on top of it, we have the group for all the vehicles. That's what you see, the colored polygons that are by default visualized here on the level of statistical sectors. So the color indicates the number of all the available vehicles at the time of harvesting of the data. So both for station-based and free-floating. When I identify one statistical sector, you get all the aggregated information here, with also the number of inhabitants in that sector, then the total number of vehicles available, only for the station-based, the number of stations at that statistical sector, but also the number of stations with a buffer around 250 meters around the statistical sector. And we have it split up for each operator. We have the same for the station capacity. And then for the free floating services with also the operators of it. And then for the vehicle types, regular bikes, e-bikes, and the e-scooters that are available. So this is by default visualized on the level of statistical sectors, but you can also visualize other levels like the postal zones, the municipalities, and the transport regions, the highest level in this map. We did the same for other. Let me say it differently. We have other groups filtered on specific properties, but it's basically the same data, but filtered differently, visualized and aggregated differently. So it's all one table, but in MapStore, we do different things with it. So here we have the group with the same data, but then on the vehicle type, so only for the regular bikes, e-bikes, and e-scooters. And we have this also for each other administrative boundary. And then we have a group for the type of operator, like only station-based or free floating. And at the bottom, we have the same, but only for specific operators like Velo, Antwerp, or Donkey Republic. The layer where actually everything comes together is the layer here, the ondervoorziene statistische sectoren, the underserved statistical sectors. So it's exactly the same data as before, but it's visualized in a different way and filtered differently. So these are the red transparent polygons, and these polygons indicate where the statistical sectors are underserved based on a default filter, but it's dynamic because you can change the filtering based on criteria that you choose. So by default, the red polygons are statistical sectors with more than 1,500 inhabitants and with no bike sharing available at the time of harvesting. You can change this dynamically. For example, let me say the station count. If you're interested in only the number of stations in a statistical sector, let me also say with no stations, then you see that the map changes immediately the visualization to these filter criteria. Or let me say with the buffer, where the capacity of the stations is also less than, see, 10 buffered, and you get immediately a different result when applying that filter. So the red regions are the regions where improvements can be done, and this is used as input for prioritizing implementation of new shared mobility. There is also a raster layer that you can see beneath the red polygons. So yes, you see the little red squares. This is raster data with more granular information about inhabitants. It's from an open data service of the government, so it's about inhabitants in every hectare. So this you can use to get to analyze where the best place is to put one or more shared mobility options according to the highest population density in those statistical sectors. So it is worth to notice that in this first case, nothing is custom configured in MapStore. It's just all default MapStore functionalities. Now move on to the second use case. This is about the implementation of intelligent traffic lights. So DMOW is a program to equip existing traffic lights with new smart technology to let the traffic lights at intersections react smoothly and adaptively to the road users, for example, by turning green faster or longer for soft mobility, and also by integrating two-way communication with, for example, emergency services. When an emergency priority vehicle approaches the traffic lights at the intersection, can take account that the vehicle is approaching and can give priority to it. Currently, there are 168 intelligent traffic lights, with 171 still under construction and 51 scheduled at the moment. Regarding to this project, we use MapStore for two goals. So the first goal is to manage the data itself and edit the status directly in MapStore with the MapStore editing capabilities that are using WFS transactions. And the second goal is to communicate this information to the citizens in a simplified public map view that's embedded on the governmental website. So we have actually two maps with the same data for two use cases. Okay, I will show now the demonstration of the maps. Okay, so the first map is shown here in the featured section that's used to edit the data. In the default view, the intelligent traffic lights are visualized based on the status. So the level of green in the circle indicates the level of progress of implementation of the traffic lights. There's also a status group in here with just the same layer, but duplicated and filtered on each status. So it's also easy for the user to just toggle for specific statuses, like where the works just started, where the works are granted, where they're operational, which are candidates, and so on. Also, we implemented the WFS search service based on the data in this layer. So besides searching for a location in the search bar, you can also search on the actual traffic light ID in the data. And when you click on this, the map is zoomed to the traffic light and the identify panel shows up to give you more attribute information of this traffic light. Let me now demonstrate how the data is edited on this map. To do that, I will go to the same map store, but on our test environment so that I don't mess up the production data. I open the same map. Now, before I can edit, I do need to log in because not everyone is able to edit the data. As you might notice now, I'm being redirected to an external authentication system that we integrated on MapStore, but I will say something more about that later on. Okay, so now I'm logged in. I can search for the mobile data map. To edit this data, you can open the attribute table, and then you have the pencil icon here that you need to toggle. Once you did that, you're in editing mode. So I already added a test case here. When I click on it, oh, it's not right on it. Yeah, so here's the test traffic light. To give it a new location is just as easy as dragging and dropping the traffic light. And once you save, you see it's on a new location. To change the status, let me say this one is already implemented. And as soon as I save, you see immediately the icon change to the status that's linked to it. So actually what happens here, once you hit save, a WFS transaction is sent to GeoServer. Then GeoServer let the data be saved in the database, and then a new get map request is sent to MapStore where you get the results. So here you are really editing the data in a database through WFS transactions in GeoServer. As I said, we also have a second map for another goal, the public map. So this contains just the same data, but it's actually a view on the source data. So you don't see all the records. Also, it's a selection of attributes. You don't get all the attributes. And it's a simpler visualization because it's for another goal. You just get here 3 icons instead of a long list, all the possible status. This map is also embedded on the website of the government. So if I will search for mobility data, go to the website of mobility data, and when I scroll down to the intelligent traffic lights section, you get here an embedded MapStore map with intelligent traffic lights. So it's just actually the same map as I've shown here, but with a lot less functionalities. There are less buttons. It's actually a mini map embedded in a website. You can also switch to full screen to get a better view, or you can link to the map with full functionality that I shown just before. So this is also very easy to implement. It's just a standard functionality of MapStore, and it's a really nice functionality. It's actually not the only use case where we embedded a map. We also have a map of the public charging points for electrical vehicles in MapStore. And this is also embedded on the governmental website. So here you get an overview of all the public charging stations visualized depending on the accessibility and on the charging speed. So when I click on a location, you get more information about who's the operator, what's the accessibility, which connector type is supported, and what is the power of the charging point, and also the address. Before I go further with another demonstration, you might have noticed that we configured MapStore, the UI of it, to be shown in Dutch. Actually, with every MapStore update that we implement, we also update the Dutch translations by ourselves, and then we push it to the source code. So it's also available for the whole community. About authentication, I already mentioned something about it. So in MapStore, there are 2 general options. You have the internal authentication provider, which is just with the username and password, which is stored in the GeoStore database that MapStore uses, where the user management is done in MapStore by a MapStore administrator. The other option is to use an external authentication provider that uses an OpenID Connect. MapStore supports two default providers, and that is Google and Keycloak. But we implemented a custom ACM IDM OpenID provider, which GeoSolutions developed for us with our support contract. In that way, we can authenticate with the authentication service of the Flemish government. So that means that the users are not managed in MapStore itself, but at the site of the external authentication provider. This custom development that GeoSolutions did for us was actually the basis for the generic experimental OpenID Connect provider that is now present in the source code of MapStore. Okay, another customization that's been made is the development of the Photoviewer extension. So it's a custom MapStore extension developed from the extension framework of MapStore. The functionalities are basically that you can view a picture on a map linked on attributes in a data set. You can also implement routing concepts like moving forward and reverse to images or move to other routes. And you can also show that in a kind of animation. The extension itself is very generic, so we can use it for a lot, and we used it for a couple of cases already, like a kind of custom street view with images from a special bicycle. We also implemented the Photoviewer to view graphs of floating car data travel times, so it's not strictly limited to strictly a picture of something, but any image data you can use that's linked on the location on the map. And the use case that I will show is the one highlighted here. It's about the location of historical aerial photographs where we did a proof of concept on. Because we don't want the Photoviewer to be available as a default tool on every map, we need to activate it and configure it using an application context. And now demonstrate the extension. So I will switch to the test environment again. And then search for the right map. Okay, so on this map, you see one example of a flight line with the center points and extents of historical aerial photographs. On the top of the navigation bar, you get this extra icon that is linked to the Photoviewer extension. It's actually a kind of custom identified tool to get images on the map. When you click on a center point, the identify panel shows up on the right. And then you get a result with a thumbnail of the data and image metadata like the date and hour of the picture, the flight height, and the focal length, and a download link to download the georeferenced image. You can also enlarge the image here in the viewer, and we have the navigation bar here on the top where you can move to the next picture or to the previous one, and also to the next flight line or the previous one at the beginning. And you have also this play button here, which is linked to the animation. So here you see the sequence of the images in the order of the flight line. The idea of this use case is that a user can easily search for a historical photograph on the map and then download the georeferenced image itself with link provided without the need to publish all this raster data through a web service and load it into a heavy map. But to be clear, this is just a proof of concept. The plugin configuration itself can be changed in two ways. there's a UI component on the map, and then we have also the JSON configuration in the context. So for the UI component, we have this range here. So basically, you need to point to a layer on the map, and where you set different configuration properties like which zoom level needs to be zoomed on when you click on a point, which attribute of the data set is linked to the image path, which is the image base path, and so on. So all the properties I will not explain further. Let me now show how the configuration in the context is being done. So we have context for the area of photographs. And here in MapStore, context configuration, yeah, every functionality in MapStore, every button that you see is like a plugin that you can enable or disable very easily in a context. And also the custom extension itself is listed here as a plugin, the Photoviewer extension with all the configuration properties that you saw in the UI component also listed here in JSON. Okay. And let me now finish with a small use case about the geostory of bicycle infrastructure. So the transport region of Antwerp regularly utilizes the geostory functionality to create one thematic overview of a lot of complex location data in different maps with extra contextual information provided in a geostory. We also integrate this in reports, so the geostories are also publicly shared with the citizens. Let me, yeah, it's a bit too early. Let me now search for the geostory. So we have here the geostory section, the sides of the dashboards, and it is this one about bicycle infrastructure. So in this GeoStory, the structure is always the same. We have a theme with an interactive map together with some description and if optionally a legend that's also present on the map. The themes are listed on the top, so you can quickly navigate to a specific theme by clicking on it. For example, we have here the bottlenecks on infrastructure where speed is too high according to the infrastructure, so where the infrastructure is not adequate to the maximum allowed speed for vehicles. We also have here different highlight colors for yellow and red. The yellow highlighted parts are actually parts of infrastructure where roadworks have been done. So the infrastructure might have been improved, but it needs to be verified. And then we have the blue highlighted parts that are parts where the infrastructure works have been planned in the future. So this is the rift from another open data source. So here the infrastructure might improve after the works. Another example here is about the vibration comfort. So here you see where a special bicycle measured literally a vibration comfort on the road. So the color indicates the comfort when you're biking. And that indicates also where infrastructure can be improved. I think this is actually a nice example of how different complex thematic information can be presented in a user-friendly overview. And I think that's really the power of GeoStory. So that was actually the last demonstration that I prepared. So I don't know if Alessandro or his colleagues want to add something to this. Otherwise, I want to really thank you for attending this, and we can answer any question you might have right away, I think.
Yes. So thank you very much, Janko. So we have a few questions at the moment. We have 4 questions. I think they were all related mostly to the parts that you presented. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them. If you click on the Q&A button, there is one. The
Yes, I
first one is
see.
in Dutch.
Yes,
Yeah.
the question is about are you just allowed to add coursing in the Netherlands? I think, yeah, traffic junction course in the Netherlands. It was about, I think it's about intelligent traffic lights part here. Well, I did this just in on a demonstration on the test environment, so it's then allowed, I think. I don't know if this answers your question.
Okay, I think we can move
Yes.
on. Then we have Donald. So he's asking how is security being handled? Is via MapStore or GeoServer? Is there any external authorization? And this is one question. The second question, if you have implemented auditing or a tracking database of fraud operation. So
Yes. So the security, I already said something about that. So I don't know if the question was before or after this part, but we do implement user access and authorization through the OpenID system with links to the custom, yeah, authentication system of the Flemish government. So you are granted rights to specific groups linked in MapStore to particular persons. And the security is also in 2 ways. That's a slide that I didn't show, but in 2 ways also at the data part. So we have MapStore groups that you can give view and edit rights to on resources, and we have GeoServer groups with view and edit rights on particular layers. And the groups in the ACM IDM authentication provider are actually the same groups as in MapStore and as in GeoServer. So the group management itself is being done in MapStore. So the groups are stored in the GeoStore database, but we have services that can query the database from the Flemish authentication provider. It's also then important to notice that if you have data that needs to be protected, you need also to protect that data service on GeoServer. So you have the resource of MapStore and then the GeoServer layer. And it's actually an access token that's being sent with every GeoServer request from MapStore. So that is the way that's implemented. And the question about another thing and tracking of database operations, CRUD operations, I cannot answer it for sure, but I don't think that's implemented. That's a substantive question that I cannot answer.
No, I
Right
mean
away.
I manage the projects and as far as I know, this is not implemented. At least the tracking of database operation is not implemented. That's for sure. I don't think you have any monitoring in place, or if it is in place, it's not managed through GeoSolutions. But I didn't really
Yes.
I didn't, no, never heard of that. Okay. Right. So there's a quite a long answer. Sorry, quite a long questions. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions altogether. So do you want me to read them? So you want to read them through it because
Yeah,
this is gonna.
I will.
Okay.
I think I will start to read them. So, um, print export functions. Can we recreate or use the classic draft layout that already are approved and in use my organization? I don't. I think I don't exactly.
Yeah. So probably say so they probably they have a layout for printing, which is company
Yes, yes.
based, and they want to basically have MapStore to have the prints respect.
Yes, so we have configured, you can quite easily configure the print layout, and we actually also did it. So you have the print functionality here on the top right. When you click on it, in the source code, you have a YAML template to configure the print layout, but here you have a lot of options. Let me start up public charging points with some description. You can choose a format, coordinate system. Yeah, let me say that I want to add a legend, and as soon as I hit the print button, a PDF is being generated with, with quite some additional information. Let me save it to show it on a larger screen. So here you have like a PDF of this map with the logo of the department, title, description, legend, scale bar, contact information, and some other additional information that you can all configure quite easily. So let me read the following question. Is it possible to have automatic print export layouts at predetermined fixed scales? Then it's probably meant that you can here choose for a layout configuration, but not right away in that way, I think, Alessandro.
I can answer this question. The answer is yes, but it's not immediately. It needs to be configured in the local config.json. So there's all the so basically all the framework that Janko showed. It's customizable. Let's say that there is a configuration files that sets how every single plugin in MapStore will behave. There are some functions that the basic ones are enabled by default, and there are others that are not enabled by default. So this is the scale of the printing is one of these. So it is possible to let's say manage it using the fixed scale. Can I share my screen to show?
Yes, of course.
So I'll just quickly show you what I mean. So as you can see in here, this is the guide for the printing plugin. And there is a configuration called use fixed scales. And if true printing scale is constrained to the nearest scales of the one configured in the config YAML file, so you can set the fixed scales up in the config YAML file, which is the same file where you configure the layouts that Janko just talked about. And in there, you can set up your fixed scale. They will appear on the interface, and then you'll be able to print the documents at fixed scale, which are different to the scales that you would see in the map. So this is another, to answer the question is yes, it's possible. Then I continue because so is it possible to use mobile apps? Which ones to consult correct inserts, information, alphanumeric photos, and can it be curated by a superior operator? Right. So, well, it is possible to use the mobile. It is possible to use MapStore in a mobile app. Yes. It is possible to consult correct insert information. Yes. Alphanumeric and photos. Well, it depends to which extent, because it is possible to insert them, let's say, server side, and they would appear whenever you do, let's say, get feature info. But I suspect that here you're talking about directly taking a picture and uploading it to a database or uploading it to a server via MapStore. That is a functionality that doesn't exist in MapStore. We would be happy to discuss its development in case you wanted to. And in case it curated by a superior operator. I would imagine that here you would ask if there is some sort of assessment before being published or before, let's say, some sort of staging area of a map that can be, let's say, viewed and validated by an administrator. Well, the answer is, as far as map is concerned, is yes. There are some maps that are just reserved to, it's possible to achieve this just reserving maps to admin users and just some users. It is possible to mark some maps as, let's say, to review. And before publishing these maps, it is indeed possible to go through a process of validation. There is like a reserved process of validation. No, there isn't, but it's possible to achieve some of them. Just a second. Then another questions. Let's take a look. Does it have capability to schedule assignments to fieldwork users and in fieldwork request some intervention or register an intervention? Again, this functionality doesn't exist out of the box. So MapStore MapStore itself doesn't have this, let's say, capacity of being, well, out of the box. Is not designed to be a tool for people that work on site. But of course, being a modular and customizable tool, we are indeed in the position to develop a plugin, to develop or an extension that would make MapStore usable for that purpose. You can, for example, get some of the MapStore APIs and implement in another framework that we could design to do on-site work based on MapStore. I really doubt, if I say probably want these type of plugins, I don't think they will ever make it to the MapStore framework and product because they are too specialized. So MapStore itself, it's a tool that is used for web GIS, and that's basically, it must be as much multi-purpose as possible. In fact, some of the functionalities that also Janko explains are basically customized just for the Flanders region. So of course, as I said, if you want, there are our contacts. You can get in touch with us, and we will be happy to discuss any potential development you will need to do with MapStore. Okay, so this is answered. Then, can we consult files? For example, a native CAD drawing, a PDF file from a determined infrastructure point location area. Right. So I don't know. The PDF file, no, that's not something it's possible to do. As for CAD drawing, I mean, as the file must be georeferenced in order to be opened. I don't think MapStore supports the display of CAD data. Again, MapStore isn't really a CAD product; is a GIS product. it responds to slightly different needs. Yes, it's not really the main purpose of MapStore, the consultation and drawing of CAD data. Okay. How can I become a GeoSolutions partner in Brazil? Is there any training or support? Right, so here there are two questions. So GeoSolution partnership, it is some sort of commercial partnership that is established through companies, not through individuals. So I'm not sure if you're asking this for you or for the company you manage or you own or you work for. So the partnership is one thing that is more attains to, let's say, how we deliver business and how we support our customers, how we cooperate with them, customers in terms of company. If there is any training or support of MapStore, yes, indeed. And there are the links that were made available in the introduction. And of course, we're going to share the slides and the recording after this, and so you will be able to take a look at the training and support. In any case, I can leave you an email here. You can write your questions. If you have a company and you want to become a partner, I'm going to send you a direct message to everyone. I'm also going to share the link to the article of documentation I opened a minute ago. Just for completeness. The one about printing and the configuration of the printing. There you go. Okay. Right. And then so fourth question answered, but this question in the scope of digital twin scope. Right. Okay. So if you're talking about 3D data, MapStore is indeed capable of visualizing and connecting to 3D data repositories. At the moment, the standards that are currently supported are 3D tiles and IFC models. That's basically it. I don't know CAD in details, so I'm not sure which are the format of CAD. If CAD software, the one from Autodesk, let's say, exports data in one of these two formats, and if it does it, if they are georeferenced, they need to be georeferenced, of course, to be correctly visualized in MapStore. And indeed, MapStore is able to consume data from these two sources. If you're talking about 3D, different thing is about 2D. If you're talking about DWG, DXF, and so on, MapStore natively will not support those formats in visualization. But in digital twin, I would imagine we are talking about 3D data. And 3D data, yes, it does. So, of course, data in 3D can also be used. If I pick a pipeline, I can open the CAD PDF file. If I pick a pipeline, can I open the file linked CAD file at a standalone outside app? Of course, yes. So if you have, let's say, a pipeline feature that would contain as attributes as links to PDF files or CAD files, you will be able to open it and you'll be able to consult it, but you won't really consult this data within the map. It will be opened, let's say it's a PDF, in the application that opens the PDF is in CAD, the software to visualize the CAD data. But again, in any case, I leave you the email of our sales, and then you can get in touch with them if you want to know more, if you got more detailed questions. Okay, so I think I answered all questions. I don't see any more questions from the public. And I think that's all. If you are finished, Janko, I think this is the end of our
Yes.
webinar.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. As I said, on the blog, we will post the recording and we will post the slides that were shown during this webinar. Stay in touch with us, take a look at the blogs because we will have soon another one. We are close to the 2025 release of MapStore with a lot of very interesting features that regard the design of the home page, how to search data that were developed in partnership with DMOW and GeoSolutions NV. And I hope to see you very soon. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.